What's going on, everybody? This is another episode of the Everything Horror Podcast. My name is Paul Doski, and joining me is the lovely fiance,
Tessa Baker.
And, well, tonight we got a little treat and trick and all over the place goodness for you. I hope you're going to enjoy it because I know the wood will. Wait, what? What did I say about the wood? Ah, yes, the wood. We're talking about the upcoming feature film. Feature film. You see, my brain is already gone already. But anyway, the feature film coming from the mind that we talked to back in April, I believe, for Bi-Polaroid. You're going to remember him as Douglas Ewen. And joining us as well is the main actress from The Wood That Made Me, Gillian Fortin. So thank you guys so much for joining.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank
You are welcome. Doug, good to have you back.
Always good to be here.
How's the Canadian weather nowadays anyway? Because I know when we were first chatting, it was kind of warm over here and it was like, I guess, cold as hell over there.
Yeah, April is cold and now it's just going back to being cold again. I think it's supposed to get like 10 centimeters of snow tonight, actually.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Just in time for Halloween.
Woo! Right? Yes. What a disaster of a house. Wait, yeah, I mean, whatever. It's
Some
Mother
people
Nature.
like winter and snow. If you like skiing, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess that just means we get a longer winter, right?
Well, what's the weather
Yeah.
like in Vermont?
It was 70 degrees today and partly sunny. Right now, it's like, let's see here. It is 57. And we're supposed to get rain tomorrow, supposedly. I don't know. Don't hold me to it.
Well, we're Celsius, right? So you're 13 degrees. We're like, what do you mean? We're below zero right now. We have to be.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so 13 degrees is like a nice day for us.
Wow.
It's like a summer day. You
Yeah,
go
it's
up cannon.
Yeah,
I swear, you Canadians are like all over the place with weather. It seems like, man.
oh, yeah. It's different here.
Yeah, it is. And speaking of which, so Doug, I know you've been working on this project for quite some time now, I believe, too, and you actually did a Indiegogo for this upcoming film of yours as well. For I want to say like it was like the pre-production or something. Tell us about the Wood That Made Me, because you even did do a teaser trailer.
Yeah, so The Woods That Made Me, it's like a psychological horror character study on a young artist named Ray. And she lives in isolation in the woods. And she goes back to her hometown of Blackwood to discover that humanity no longer exists. So she has this kind of uncontrollable urge that is not necessarily addicted to killing, but when she sees something, she finds more beauty in death than she does life. And then she recreates it after she has murdered that person or thing. It's very it's quite the story.
Well, it sounds like it. I mean, it's also based off a novel, The Drifting Upward, by
It's based off that. Yeah, M.D. Lawrence. Yeah, it's based off the novel Drifting Upwards. He's a local author. He's also a friend of mine. The book, though, reached me more on an emotional level. Him and I have a lot in common. We have sort of like the same demons, so it was easy for me to relate to him and the story of the book more than it was the actual content that you're going to see on screen. There are a lot of things that translate the screen, but his story involved a different kind of outlet than I would say would fit into the horror genre, where I took it and then made it my own.
Well, so since you actually, so did you? Yeah, I mean, you must have if you're doing a film on it. So you reading the book and stuff, like, did you do any changes? Did you add anything that was different?
Yeah, no, I can't read, so no, I never read it.
Oh.
I know. I changed it a bit. Main
How many
character.
times did you change it, Doug?
Um, enough times that I think there was a point where I wrote the sequel to his novel for him. So whenever he needs more material, he already has it done. That's for sure.
Okay, well, I mean, all the power to you there, Doug. But it's always interesting to where we always get the uh, books versus the film as well. So, do you think people are gonna probably do the same thing, like as in judging wise, like what did you either bring out of the book or not bring out? So, do you feel like that's gonna happen, or do you think like what you have created is like um a what would I want to say for a word in here? Like there's enough there that you feel like you're confident, I should say, that you took enough to make it so that it's not all um oh man, I can't think of a word right now. Like it's not all like I guess born or something. I can't even think of a word right now. Like it's not like a slow burn. You know what I mean? Like you're taking it where you don't feel like there's less information. There's enough information to at least know what's going on and why this is going on.
Yeah, I have a good example for that, and I'll be able to explain it. So, like, it's like when, not that I'm comparing myself to these people. It's just an example. So it's like Doctor Sleep's coming out next week, and you have Stephen King saying that's exactly how he wanted his novel adapted onto the screen, and then you have Kubrick Shining that King absolutely hates. Um, so with this author, after I explained it to him, now the tone and the feel and the emotion and everything that he poured into this book, which was a very large personal experience for him. While he went to school in a different country. He came back here. He felt isolated. He had a lot of demons to fight, and he had this undertone of just not enjoying life as much as he did before. So I tapped into that and definitely feel like I've captured the essence of that through different characters and maybe a different kind of storyline. It's not that the book wouldn't translate great to screen. It's a fantastic read, and it almost play more as a comedy than anything in my genre. It's just my vision of how the book felt and the emotion that was in it turned out to be more of a violent gore show than a coming of age story about a person moving to a different place or coming back home. So when Ray's coming back home, she's coming back home in the same essence as he did to discover that almost like it doesn't exist anymore. He couldn't relate. There was no humanity. He did not fit in. He was different. He can feel a lot of different things are going on with his body. Literally at one point, I had personal demons speaking to him. So I took that and put it into the characters 100%. I feel like I stayed true to who the characters were. I kept his world, the city of Blackwood, things of that nature. Other than that, I just switched genre. So it's like watching, let's say you took Ace Ventura and threw him into a horror movie, right? Not that this book was like that. It's just I just changed it. I just switched up the genre. Other than that, the entire tone and everything this author put his heart and soul into is still bleeds through my movie as much as his pages. So
I should have figured you're more into the gore stuff anyway. I mean, from what I've seen a little bit of your stuff. I mean, I haven't seen your other shorts except for Bi-Polaroid, but I can tell like from the way you're you tell a story, you kind of let the mind, I guess, do the talking. If that makes any sense to you, but I guess like from the way I'm trying to say it, like with Bi-Polaroid is the mind, I guess, from that short to me was the camera versus like the photographer actually taking it too. But the mind was the camera turning in what it was shooting into the goriness and all that stuff.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of like spoon feeding the audience. I mean, I enjoy slasher flicks and horror movies just as much as everybody else, but yeah, I like to just bring it to a different level and make sure that people understand that there's more out there than just cinematic eye candy, and there's sometimes things that may actually you'd have to look into, or it may make you feel. It's like listening to music, or it's like reading a book. It gives you this certain feeling that you can relate to it, or you can understand what that person's trying to say, or you may have those thoughts yourself instead of watching Jason kill someone with a machete and be like, "Oh, I've been there before." And if you have said that to yourself, then you may need more help than I do. Gillian would be able to actually emphasize on this because there were a lot of times on set where people were like, "I don't think I'm able to say this dialogue just based off of." I believe they use the word poetic, which I would not use to describe my dialogue.
Poetic for you when it comes to dialogue? Man, that would be. I don't even know what that would be.
Gillian's character was the only one that has more of the. You relate to her the most. A lot of the other characters who are in it are more of this, like, it's almost like a deep feeling that comes from her. There are a lot of people who had problems going through dialogue and rehearsals and getting down the feel of the film than there was when it came to like the gore and the moving around and the killing. It was all fine, but when it came down to the actual dialogue, like Bi-Polaroid, it's just a different mindset than your normal conversation that you have in everyday life.
Gotcha.
Gillian, how did you get into acting, and did you like take any like acting classes or anything like that?
Yeah, so there's an acting studio in Sudbury, and I've been with it for just over a year. I've also done several workshops down in Toronto. So I've been in the acting business probably for just over a year, and I connected with Douglas. When was it? February, I guess, last year? Or this year, I should say.
Might have been before that.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was early this year that we connected. And we've kind of just been talking about different projects. And when he brought this project to my attention, I think in May, I definitely jumped on it. It was such a unique storyline and such an interesting character. So I really wanted to kind of do Ray justice and challenge myself for sure. So, yeah.
How was it working with him?
That's something to know.
Oh boy.
Are you just gonna ignore the question?
Oh, sorry. I think you guys are breaking out. All I heard was working with him. What was it like working with him?
Yeah, what was it like working with him?
Douglas is a very unique person to work with, and I actually thought it was such a privilege to work with him. He's someone that really likes to get in the mind of his actors, and so the more him and I worked together, the more my character Ray changed, and I actually was able to get more into my character because he got to know me better. And then so I felt like it was just such an honor to be able to actually fully embrace this Ray character and kind of see a bit of me into her. And not a lot of directors, I think, do that, really get to know their actors. It's more like, here's your script, know your lines, blah, blah, blah. But no, we've definitely been able to get to know each other. And I think you can see that probably in the movie, just how the characters approach, or the actors approach their character. There's a deep connection there because Douglas has gotten to know each and every one of us and kind of slightly tweak the characters to reflect the actors. So it kind of made our jobs easier, actually.
So what was the hardest scene that you had to do?
Yeah, Gillian.
The hardest scene? Well, probably just because of like technical issues. The hardest scene would probably be one of the killing scenes.
Oh boy.
Where I had to use an axe and smash it over someone's head. And we had this air compressor that it was just like one shot and then it was out of juice. And it was really hard to nail that one shot. And so I didn't nail it the first time. And then we had to wait and like plug it in. And then I psyched myself out. And so just trying to get those kill shots down right and not react when blood is being sprayed all over my face and still hold that intensity was definitely a challenge that I don't think I was anticipating. So that was probably the most challenging part, which seems a bit silly.
I quite enjoy practical effects more than I do CGI. So Gillian had to take a lot of shots of blood in the face with a air compressor, and the best was actually there were a few times I have some pretty good air compressing moments. One was she was getting ready to do the shot. I don't remember if she's from the teaser where she's walking into the lake. So I had to do her face in blood, and I told her I was going to count to 3, and before I counted, I just blew it out in her face. And then this one this one shot we were doing in the middle of the woods, I had to get someone else to hold it, and obviously because I was behind the camera. And right when I called roll camera, and then we framed it, he set it off, and we had to restart because it just hit her in the face and blew up everywhere. And luckily, someone on crew caught it with their camera.
That's a good blooper.
Yeah, so hopefully that circulates around the internet soon enough.
Yeah, so I have quite a relationship with this air compressor. It likes to go off before I'm ready.
Oh man.
I know. I want to make jokes. I just don't know how clean this podcast has to be. But
We don't care.
as many relationships Jillian has in her life, we got to know each other pretty well. That's all I'm saying. We're allowed to make fun of each other now. We actually, I would say we became friends, or at least she's friendly towards me.
Ah. Well,
No.
Doug seemed like a good guy, Gillian. So, I mean, I want to take him.
He's a great guy. Honestly, there were so many great moments. Of course, there were frustrating, painful moments, but that's all part of the business. And I think that's just because anyone who's in the business is very passionate about what they do. And I think sometimes creative minds can butt heads, and that's just part of the process. And you just got to ride it out. And at the end of the day, it's a wonderful experience. And hopefully it's something that people are going to enjoy watching.
Yeah.
Hopefully it would be a good. Hopefully it is. Yes, you're correct.
Would you say that with what you've accomplished so far, and this can be for both of you, are you proud?
Of what I've accomplished so far?
Yes.
Oh yeah, after I worked with Jillian, I just decided to retire.
You can retire that air compressor.
Oh no, that thing! I carried it around. It looked at me right now. It's kind of pissed off now. He said it could hear you, by the way. But no, I'm very, very surprised actually how far we've come. I have another one set up for about. It was supposed to be this summer, but unfortunately I'm going to be busy this summer, so another year we'll be shooting again. But no, it's definitely like Gillian was saying too, is getting to meet new talent is when I started to realize that a lot of this is a possibility. And without people like Gillian, like I said, Northern Canada, it's a different kind of beast. So without having the kind of talent that Gillian has, or people like that in this area, once I met her and realized that things like this are possible, and there are people out there that have this gift that they can do this in front of a camera, and then I can do it behind the camera, and it tends to be a pretty good relationship, then yeah, no, I'm definitely proud of the work we did. I don't know how. Yeah, that's right. I already told her she has to agree with everything I say. So.
Oh, jeez.
No, I'm very proud of it. This is my first actual feature that I'm in, so I'm very, very proud of it. And I went on a huge journey with Ray, so I hold it close to my heart.
What other project were you doing that you did before the Wood That Made Me?
I've done quite a few just local indie shorts, and I worked really closely with the university in Sudbury, so a lot of the students in the film department would hire local actors, so I was very involved in that community as well.
And she just did a couple commercials this week.
I did, yes.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Branching out from shorts and features to now commercials.
Well, the thing with Northern Canada, see, there's this fine line. SAG's a little bit different than actors. So when you join the union in Canada, you sell your soul. And the problem with doing that is, and I know you're from Vermont, so excuse some of my American language here, but Americans come here and make movies, which it's great. They get a great tax benefit, and usually it's or say from down south in Canada too, we'll get like Hallmark movies, and people will join the union because they get a lot of background in Canada. So you join the union, you get paid your $45 an hour to stand around on set and do your Christmas movies, and you make a living. So finding stuff in Northern Ontario and finding people who are not part of the union or who are willing to even just say fuck the union and take a chance is quite the difficult task. So stumbling upon someone like Gillian who decided not to go union for that almost exact reason and then keep going at it that was the task in hand that I had, where I had a bunch of people and everyone, all these union actors reaching out, I want to do this, I want to be part of this, how can we get around the union? And in Canada, they actually break your legs when you do non-union stuff. SAG, they will let you pay the low union dues and work with you. It's a lot easier working with American actors than it is here in Canada. With the union anyways, not the actors, but the union. Union here is very difficult to maneuver around.
Wow.
But yeah, so like, even for example, Gillian and I did what was that event called? NerdCon, and we got to our booth was with Damien Leone and David Howard Thornton, Art the Clown, and the director of Terrifier.
Yep.
And now they're doing Terrifier 2, and even speaking to them too, it's just it's a lot easier, especially being in the United States where they were shooting. Now they're shooting upstate New York, but just having places that you have access to, like in northern Canada, where I have access to a lot of woods, but then we have to do city shots and we have to find things and interior shots, and it's very difficult. It's quite the challenge to do film in such a small community, and it was actually quite the journey. So yeah, it's difficult. So Gillian you will see, that's the thing. Gillian's probably gonna go on to do like a 20,000 other features from here, while I sit here in my basement and grow old and die. Because
Stop selling yourself short.
She definitely gets out there a lot more than I do. She works a lot. She gets to go down to Toronto, whereas I have to stay in the cold in northern Canada.
Well, okay, so real quick, we can actually, before I even blabber on, is there anything else you wanted to ask?
No, I asked everything I wanted to.
Okay, until you think of something else.
Until I think of something else, maybe.
All right. Well, I guess the next thing is, so Tessa, you and I watched the trailer that Doug had put out. What did you think of the trailer the first time? That little teaser where we see Gillian all like, kind of like
bloodied up and
bloodied up, having that
very
mask.
Intrigued. I was like, oh, what is this?
Well, first thing I will say is, Doug, great camera work, by the way. Better than me. So I still got some practicing to do, but hey, forgive me.
Oh, stop it. You're not bad.
Well, I know, but still. I mean, it was my only short that I did, but we're not talking about
your short. I watched your short. We should talk about you. I quite enjoyed it. I contributed to the campaign. I'm glad you went out and did it. I very, very good. I mean, doing something like that and having the balls to do it is what counts first, right? Work on the camera work after, just as practice. It's like it's bullshit advice, but when people tell you, like, you know, the only way you're gonna learn how to film is to actually film, they're right. There is no being prepared for something like that. There's as much as you can possibly do in pre-production, but everyone knows that shit hits the fan when you get on set, and sometimes your shots change, sometimes your ideas change, the way you approach something. So I mean, for that being your first short film, I was very much impressed. I'm glad that you actually took the leap and did that. Good on you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We're going to be doing another one in next year, so you'll be seeing in the next one maybe by like the end of May or early June. We should have it all done. So, yeah. Can't wait for that one.
Nice.
That's going to pretty much be like a completely straight B movie. It's going to be like the old classical type of monster movies where you don't really see it until the end kind of thing.
Yes, that's the best. It's just
suspense.
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually thinking of switching over and doing a Grindhouse movie. I've been thinking about it for a while. Unfortunately, I have a lot of projects on the go right now. My next one's not even a horror movie. I mean, it's quite horrific, but it's not what you'd expect from me, anyways. But no, I want to do a grindhouse like gore show monster. Just my one movie that I get out of my system where I'm like, there you go, world, fuck you. And I've been working on it. I've been writing down ideas and drawing pictures of monsters now for a couple months, but I just have not.
Aren't those self-portraits?
I was actually doing the poster work, and I couldn't draw you any better than you looked, so they came out as monsters. That's right. We bitch back and forth. It's okay. It's allowed. We're allowed to do
It's all good.
It's all good.
Hey, you gotta have fun with it one way or another.
But no, I want to get that out of my system. I want to do one more. I think Gillian would be a great final girl, actually. Have her run around and save the day.
Ooh, superhero.
No, I'm kidding. I'm never working with her again.
But
You
what
would
if
be
she
able
was
to
down for
afford
the
me.
idea?
Well, she at first, I won't lie. Like, might as well be honest here, since people are listening. She's quite the drama queen.
Perfect time to be honest.
It is the perfect time, to be honest. She's a drama queen who
I'm
showed up
not.
and had a bunch of demands and just whiny as
Like,
all
ma'am,
hell.
Can I read the script before I get on set?
No, your demands were like, I need my vegan diet, and
I'm not a vegan. I can't believe you're.
no, you just eat
now.
shitty food. That's all. No,
Yeah.
she we had a very different relationship from the first 2 weeks of filming until we got into about week 8, and we started doing reshoots, and then we started to understand each other. We're very much alike. We just have a very different lifestyle. Like, I will have whiskey for lunch, and she'll have a Greek salad. So we had a little bit of catering issues sometimes. That's about it.
Oh, jeez. Well,
I was
since
not
we're being honest,
drama queen.
I was gonna say, since we're being honest now, Gillian, is there anything that you want to be honest about Doug now?
Do it. Do it right now.
I think because he's a very creative person, that creativity never stops. So there would often be lots of impromptu scene changes. And some people who maybe aren't great at improv would have had a difficult time with that. But I just rolled with it, and half the time they turned out being one of the best shots. So you kind of have to just have complete faith in your director at times, even when you think, what is this person doing? Because it usually does turn out to be amazing in the end. But yeah, it was definitely a huge trust exercise.
I think we actually ended up doing something similar to that, where like we would kind of act out the scenes at first, and then like if something wanted to be changed, they would just do it anyway, or like we would practice one particular way, and then like as we're actually shooting the scene, everybody switched it all around, and like it was either better or worse, and it's just like, yeah, can we just go back to that other way?
Well, there is no this is the thing that no one prepares you for. You go to film school, you can watch YouTube, you can do what you want. The thing is, when you get on set, it's different, and sometimes you got to work with what you get, and then sometimes you got to work with when you don't get what you want. So you have this location, then something bails out, and now you have to figure this thing out, and you do it. And you take like the Joker, for example, and I keep using this as an example all the times. You have Phillips writing scenes at breakfast and Joaquin filming them at lunchtime, and this is all over the place. There will never be, if anyone goes on set and has a movie shoot perfectly, then they should make a movie about that. That'd be more interesting than anything else. I've just, even listening to other directors or speaking to other people about them making movies, and me explaining to them like, oh, I really like this scene you had, and then someone saying, looking me dead in the eyes and saying, we just made that shit up. Like, we had no fucking money. This person canceled. We had no idea what we were gonna do, so we were like, fuck it, let's shoot this. And we did. And I'm like, that ended up being the best part of the movie, man. And he's like, I know. That's just how it works sometimes. Sometimes in design even, or like, movies, like whatever it is, whatever your creativity or wherever your passion lies, sometimes your biggest mistake is your biggest triumph, right? So
Well, I think it's because you're living in the moment and it's not pre-planned, so it's more authentic and it shows up on screen.
That makes sense.
And Gillian was very easy to work with that way. She actually she's open to a lot of changes, but she's also able to give her input in a way that makes sense. That I'm like, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, I can work with that. Instead of us being like, okay, I'm gonna change it to this, and her being like, okay, and then not getting involved. She was really good with her, and I had a very good
collaborative.
Yeah. Yeah, we did have that was probably the thing that saved a lot of this. There were some times on set or just during filming where Gillian had to keep probably more shit together than I did, only because she's like the sweetest woman alive, so everyone would listen to her, whereas I'd be like, listen here, all right? And then I would give my speech, whereas Gillian would be like, what he really meant to say was, he loves you. And
I was his translator at times.
yes.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, I have a tendency to overthink things, and then Gillian would just explain them to people for me. So, other than that, I'm a dream to work with. Just if anyone else is listening, like
He is.
Yeah.
Well, that's always good.
It gets. You know what it's like now. It gets a little tense when you're going over budget and you're spending money and you realizing shit's going crazy and you got to kind of pull it back together. It gets a little intense.
So speaking of budget, Doug, I don't know how much you can say for the budget wise, but I am curious of what would your like your time of shooting and stuff, like what would your plan, like how many days did you want to actually shoot it? Did you shoot it in the days that you wanted? Was it less? Was it more than what you wanted?
You're supposed to plan those things out. No, it was it was like Gillian said. It was chaotic. So the first time around was more of an experiment. It was like, I want to do this, but I have a very small budget, so I'm going to do this almost in the most economical way I can with the least amount of people and equipment. I'll even shoot this thing on a cell phone. And then we were like, it's turning out to be a little bit better than we thought. We had better talent than we thought, so then we went up in gear and stuff. We had a few people invest. I invested. So the first shoot literally was 2 weeks, not really getting anywhere, trying to beat around this thing, a lot of rushing, and it was about $8,000. Then the second time around was probably closer to about 19, and then say around 27 after you get gear and stuff like that. And now we're in post production, and we still, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, we're gonna have a few like pickups here and there because I can already tell by going through footage. There's like a few spots I was like, oh, I didn't quite get what I wanted there. So they're just gonna have like an ADR post, a special effects. So all in all, at the end of the day, it's probably gonna be about 35.
Wow. Well, to be honest, Doug, I don't know if you ever like listened to the stuff that we did an interview with Spoiler Country, but we were actually talking with them about how the original plan was we were going to shoot on a cell phone because we always get told you can make a movie by a cell phone, and so that was the original idea for the Passenger. But then we ended up getting ourselves a 4K camcorder. And then what was funny, though, which I don't think a lot of people caught it, which I'm kind of glad maybe, but do you remember the Ghostly Pass scene, the flashback?
Yeah, that's off a cell phone.
That was the cell phone.
Yeah, it's just, that's the thing. It's not that, okay, to your audience, they may not catch it unless there is a major malfunction in your story. This is what I was trying to tell people. Like, a lot of filmmakers, a lot of directors I talk to and DPs will tell me like, oh, this person says their phone is as good as my like C300, or this phone is as good as my Red or my RE, and I'm like, it's not that. it's as good. I mean, you can tell the difference because dynamic range and the ISO on a cell phone, if you'd have to take everything down to its native ISO, and you're still going to get noise and grain. You're still going to have your washed out colors compared to, say, like even a Canon C100 that has a small color range, or like Blackmagic has a great color range, but the dynamic range of color shows between the cameras. But if you don't have your audience absolutely sucked into your story, that's when they're going to start picking apart your technical aspect of the film, right? Like your sound and then your video and stuff like that. So yeah, no, there were when you're speaking about that, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, one of these shots. That's just because it's me. I'm also like, I guess you can call me a frame fucker. I sit here and like I just press the arrow button when I watch stuff just to go through it. I mean, I wouldn't say I was able to pick out the exact scene, but I didn't know if you did mix cell phone footage with the actual film footage. I was actually at one point thinking about doing that because there's a character in the film who's a young boy, and he catches the apocalypse the entire time it's going on. He has an 8mm film camera. So there's these scenes where some of it's filmed in 8mm, which we didn't actually film in 8mm, but my editor will be able to do that, hopefully. And no, I have more than utmost trust in him. But anyways, with this, so there's this kid. So I was thinking about taking some of the cell phone footage I had previously and then converting that into 8mm footage as an effect, but we ended up reshooting it anyways with the camera. But no, it's just, if you have a story and you have a purpose, people aren't going to start tearing your shit apart. You don't have a story, you don't have anything that's keeping the audience into your film except for the fact that they can tell they hate it because of the sound or the visuals, then that's when they're going to start realizing the difference between a filmmaker with a cell phone and a filmmaker with a camera. And if there's any filmmaker out there right now that is saying to themselves that their gear makes who they are, then they're cunt, because that's not true. If you can't tell a story and you can't film it, you shouldn't be in this business. First of all, any guy that goes into this business to make the same career is already an idiot anyways. Second way around it is, if you think your gear makes you, then you probably should go and learn how to bartend. That's just my opinion.
Well, that's a great opinion to have, though, to be honest. So I will at least say that. Speaking of which, too, Doug. Now, depending on when this episode gets released, which I actually been trying to contemplate, that is, you are going to be doing, whether this episode is released on the day or the day before, but you are planning another Indiegogo for The Wood That Made Me. Now, what is the fund that you're looking for that, and how long are you running the campaign for, and what kind of perks can we expect?
All right, so the campaign itself, even the first one. So the first one, it was not meant to be, like, I didn't share it. I didn't try to advertise it. I already had funding together, which, like I said, when we were budgeting, being a disaster at the end. But a lot of people would just call me, like friends and family, and be like, "Hey, I want to give you like $100. Hey, I want to give you like $200." And I'd be like, "I don't want to take your money. I'll set up this page, and you can donate to it, and I'll get the funds eventually." And it ended up being successful. I just put any random number, and it ended up being almost $1,700. So it was great. It was a great experience. And then after it was all done, I realized when we were budget, I was like, okay, well, now I actually have to run something. So basically, it's just for post-production. It's just in the book and in the movie. So this city of Blackwood, it's like its own character. It has its own little idea behind it. It takes place in the apocalypse, which we don't speak about. There is no end of the world discussion or showing of what happens. It is mentioned, like it's understood, but we have to blank out signs. We have to put in other signs. We have to do things like sound design, Foley, which is an animal of its own kind, and basically score the film. Who I'm still working with, Jimmy. Jimmy's her stage name, but she has been absolutely fantastic throughout this entire process, as she always is. She did Bi-Polaroid, False Uncertainty. She's done a bunch of stuff for me, going back a while. So she's doing that too. So for her to sit down and watch an entire film and go through it and score it, we all need equipment. We all need certain things. I didn't edit it either. I'm not the editor. So, I mean, there's just I have to pay certain people to do things that are out of my league, like title sequences, credits, just things of this nature. And I have to rent studio space for ADR, stuff like that.
There you go. What kind of perks are you throwing out for them to pick or whoever? Yeah.
Right now, I think the hard copy though will come with the editor's cut, and then it will come with my director's cut, and it will also come with the cell phone footage movie. It'll be like a little treat in the interviews and cast. There's hard copies, digital copies. There's movie stills, posters, T-shirts, credits. The basic Indiegogo film package. I was gonna get rid of some of the props. At NerdCon, we raffled off some stuff, and one of the gentlemen bought the face that Gillian rips off another gentleman in the film.
The one that's in the trailer.
Yeah, he ended up picking that up. We put it in a poster, and we did like a silent auction thing, and he got that. I was thinking about doing stuff like that, but I can't because I want to keep this stuff forever. So.
Well, it's understandable. This is technically your first feature film, right?
That I've directed, yes.
Yeah.
My directorial debut.
Now, do you have a release date for it? Because I know, if I had to guess, you're gonna try to go for some like film festivals.
Yeah. So it was going to be initially released in the winter of this year's, but we're going now till October 2020 because there are 2 Canadian festivals we have to get in. And we also are doing more of a distributing the film around like Halloween. So we have a festival here called CineFest, and we have Toronto After Dark and festivals of this nature, and hopefully we're grateful enough to get into those festivals. That'd be awesome. So we're just going to wait till October and see how it does throughout the summer in the film festival circuit, and then it'll be released in October.
Awesome. And the last thing that I can think of is when it does become available to the public out of the film fest, is where's it going to be available?
We're going to have a small theater release. It'll be available on all major streaming platforms that are available in indie, like Amazon, Vimeo, Google, things of that nature. Netflix will not, because they're not filming 4K, which is an absolute necessity, and also you sort of have to be approached by those people. I was in talks a while back, and it's a bunch of drama. But with the hard copies too, we'll be selling them and stuff like that. We also have international distributors that are interested in other countries and stuff of that nature. So. Right now, I can tell you that it's going to be on streaming devices and through websites and all that good jazz, and then a small theatrical release, just mostly in Canada.
Nice.
But yeah, you'll be able to find it. I'll send you a copy.
Well, I appreciate it, and I'll make sure that I check out your perks on Friday. So
yeah, that launches Friday, and then. On November 4th, on Monday, we're going to release an actual trailer.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, so I had to work on that today with the editor showed me the cuts, and we went through it, and I think it's going to show more of Ray going into the city and more of the other characters than just her, and yeah, it actually I was quite impressed with what there's this young gentleman that helps. His name is Peyton. He's an angel. He cut together some great stuff. He's very good at what he does. So I was very impressed with seeing the new trailer.
Ooh, and it wouldn't be my job. I wouldn't be doing my job either if I didn't ask. The practical effects, like the mask and stuff. How did whoever was doing it had to create it by hand, or did you guys order it from somewhere specifically, or like how did that mask that Gillian wears came to be?
That's actually Gillian's face, actually. No, she doesn't wear it at one point. We don't leather face her up, but that there was a woman I met at a horror film festival down south who runs Macabre Studios out of, I don't want to do it wrong, say the wrong state, out of the States somewhere. She does latex masks. She does all original masks, so I got them from her. I enjoy special effects makeup, so I did a lot of the special effects makeup myself. And we had another lovely lady that helped with some of the. There's a gunshot wound that she helped out with and stuff like that, but. Yeah, basically nothing was. I mean, also no, There's this one prop we used. It was a fucking finger, a prosthetic finger that was like $17, and then it was in the UK, and the guy's like, "Well, do you want it like colored and looks like a real finger?" And I'm like, "Yeah." That ends up being like a few $100s because you actually. I mean, this thing looks legit, like fingerprints and wrinkles and the whole nine. So
have it aged too? Like it had to be dead for a month or so. So he like specifically aged it to have decomposed in a time frame of a month would be.
Yeah, like it was nuts what this man was capable of. So that ended up being a little more expensive. That's the only prop we actually ordered without making ourselves. That and the face we got from the company, but she does her own original work, so it wasn't anything that you can order off a website.
That's awesome. And I gotta ask Gillian then, is that the finger that we see in that one screen cap shot?
I think so. What screenshot?
Oh, it's like a dark environment. Your eyes are like bulging out of your head.
That's not Miss Gillian. That is Ella Morin. She plays Marie.
But yeah, that's the finger.
Okay.
That's the finger. Yeah, that she plays Marie. So the next trailer is going to introduce her character, and we're going to introduce more of the characters that are in it.
She is lovely.
Man, you guys almost look, gals, I should say, look almost identical. That threw me off then because I thought that was Gillian. Holy crap! Okay.
No, Gillian actually. Gillian was a big help with. Ella is a younger actress, and she really looked up to Gillian a lot. So Gillian was able to help me with explaining a lot of things to her and stuff. She was an absolutely fantastic person to work with as well. Actually, everyone was really good. I can't really think of any real problems except for like problems that existed on set. But between us and the people, we all still talk, and it was quite the experience.
I mean, as long as there's really no bad blood, then I guess at least you can all work with each other again for another future project or something. So that's always good.
We're friends for life.
Oh, best friends. The only time Gillian and I talk is when we have to do stuff like this. NerdCon, podcast. And right when we hang up is fuck you, and bye-bye.
Oh, jeez.
No.
Well, speaking of wrapping it up and stuff, Gillian, is there anything that you would like to say for like final words before we wrap it up?
I mean, I think Douglas really covered a lot of it, so I'm just going to say thank you for having me on your podcast. It's been great. But, yeah, keep following us, too, and I'm sure Douglas will keep sending little teasers of the movie throughout the year, so you guys don't lose interest until it comes out next year.
Yep. Well, appreciate it. And, Doug, is there anything that we didn't actually touch on that you would like to mention, or what would be your final words?
Like the Jerry Springer show. Doug's final thought would be, if you're going to, like, you'll relate to this. If you're going to pick up a camera and start filming, it's like that James Cameron quote you always see. Pick up a camera, film something, and now you're a director. I mean, it's kind of a scary quote when taken out of context, because if you pick up a knife and cut yourself, you're not a fucking surgeon, right? But
right.
The point is, what I'm trying to say is that this stuff is not impossible. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication. It absolutely drives you insane. You might develop some kind of substance abuse problem, and you just have to keep going with it. You have to wake up every morning and tell yourself that you're going to complete it, and then you have to complete it no matter how long it takes or how grueling the process can be. And when you meet good people like I did, and you have a good crew like I do, it's just a constant reminder that people dream about doing this shit, and then they're the people that actually do it, and it feels good being one of the people that do it. So I'm happy that this all came together. I'm happy that it's going to be released. I'm pretty damn sure that we are making a little bit of movie magic here that everyone can enjoy next year for Halloween.
And one more thing, Doug, is if people want to keep up with the Wood That Made Me and everything else that you got going on, whether it be previous projects you've done or upcoming, where can people keep up to date with you?
I'm on all the major social media platforms like everybody else in the world. IMDb, ewenproductions.com, and I wouldn't call myself an attention whore, but I'm pretty sure I put enough out there that people always know what's going on. I have a few things coming up that I'll be announcing in a couple months, but yeah, no, definitely ewenproductions.com. You'll be able to find everything there.
Awesome. Well, once again, guys and gals, thank you so much for your time, and we'll have to check out your Indiegogo, but that will be in the link below, so people can check out your Indiegogo, and I wish you the best, and can't wait to see the film when it actually comes out.
Oh, you're gonna have a little bit of a sneak peek. I'll send it to you a little bit early.
Oh, geez. I can't wait. It does look good, so can't wait. But, all right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. And like we always say to end the show, make sure you always stay scary.